Andy Davis.
I feel like I should just give a benediction and we call it good. My name is Andy Davis, thank you very much, and I am running for state rep in District 31, which is David Sanders' current district. Now starting next year, that district will be quite a bit smaller than it was when David ran for it, but it still starts in West Little Rock, includes West Pulaski County, almost all the way out to Perrin, and it includes Saline County north of Interstate 30. I'm from right here in Little Rock. I've actually lived in District 31 my whole life, except for a few years I spent in Fayetteville. I'm not going to tell you how many years that was, but I spent a few years. I have 3 kids, ages 9, 7, and 5 almost. Been married for 13 years to Haley Reed Davis, who's from over in East Arkansas. And I'm a small business owner. I have 2 full-time employees here in Little Rock. I work in wastewater. I'm a civil engineer by education. I work in the glamorous field of wastewater treatment. So I feel like my experience in sewers prepares me uniquely. I'm not afraid to get my hands dirty. I'm not afraid to disagree with somebody and argue with them. I think that's good. I think that's how we get things done. That's how we come to the best conclusions. As a small business owner, you know, to some of your comments, I've made those hard decisions when, you know, we've had very tough times. I've had days when I thought, this may be it. I may be looking for a job next year. And I've had to lay people off. I've had to cut things back. I don't mean for anybody to take this personally, but I've had several people that work for the state comment to me that we hadn't got a raise in 2 years. I make less than I did when I got out of college. Because that's what I've got to do to keep my business going and keep my employees working. So I think in these days and times, we just got to be happy to have a job, place to work. I go to Parkway Place Baptist Church over here in West Little Rock. Been there my whole life. I'm a member of the leadership team over there. The reason I'm running is because I got tired of asking, why aren't there more people like me in state government? Why aren't there more people that can just look at an issue and make a common sense decision? Things like showing an ID when you vote. It's common sense. Things like drug testing people to get a welfare check or some sort of assistance. To me, it's common sense. I mean, when I worked for somebody else, I had to do it to get a regular paycheck. Things like, anyway, but just common sense conservative values. Kind of the things that I'd be targeting in the legislature would be reducing the income tax. I think when you can look at where Arkansas, how we compare to the states around us now, and then you can drill down into what they're doing. Most of the states that border Arkansas, if they have an income tax, are working on eliminating it right now. And it's not even in the discussion, I don't think, outside of probably the Republican caucus. We've got to be more business friendly. In my industry, I work with several state agencies on a daily basis. I met with a group of engineers last week, Little Rock Engineers Club, and I asked them what's important to you. And one of the things they commented on was how the state has become very enforcement heavy and very short on what I would just call customer service. And a lot of these agencies, we think about them just dealing with municipalities and whatnot, the ones that I deal with anyway, but there are a lot of private owners of wastewater treatment plants, and this is just something I know about, so I'm using it as an example. This goes for a lot of agencies around the state. We need them to be more helpful to businesses. One idea that I have that I hope to have a chance to promote in the legislature is actually to try to create some culture change in our state agencies and incentivize our state employees to be more helpful to business people and individuals that they work with on a daily basis. Incentivize them by tying bonus structures to tax base, not tax revenue, but to the base. If we can grow the base in Arkansas, we'll have more revenue. I think it was Marco Rubio said, we don't need more taxes, we need more taxpayers. So those are just a few of the things that's a few things about me and a couple of things that are important to me. When I'm in the legislature, I'd like to take a couple questions until you tell me we've used up all my time. Any questions?
What do you anticipate will be one of the biggest challenges if you arrive in the legislature?
I think one of the biggest challenges is going to be staying in the legislature after we make cuts. You know, one of the facts about our state's budget is, Jane, you tell me if I get these numbers wrong, but I think I got them close, is state revenue is about $4.7 billion. The state budget and what we actually spend is somewhere around $25 billion. All that difference is made up in money we get from D.C. And as things get tight in D.C., they're going to quit sending that money to Arkansas. So this is like me saying I've got a $400,000 budget at home and I got not even $100,000 salary. So when all that money from D.C. starts drying up, what are we as Arkansans going to learn to do with that? I think that's probably going to be the hardest thing to deal with. Any other questions?
Do you have a primary you don't, do you?
I don't have a primary. Very fortunate in that.
What's that guy's name that's running against him? I can't remember.
I do have an opponent in November named Tom Formicola.
Formicola.
I think he's actually down as Tommy Formicola this time.
Yeah.
You know, in my campaign right now, since I don't have a primary opponent, is we're trying to raise money, get ready for the fall, go to meetings like this, and try to get some volunteer support, sign locations, all those good things. I am trying to raise money. That's why I went ahead and put envelopes on your table. I stole that from you, James, from the Republican Women's League. I saw that. Man, I still learn how to ask for money, and she's got an envelope in front of everybody. That was
Sometimes
great.
people just ignore them.
Oh, I understand. I pass out a lot more than I get back. But one thing's for sure, if you don't ask, you're not going to get any.
Right.
I do have an opponent in November. You're not supposed to talk about your opponent, but I'll tell you, it's really interesting. The guy has at least filed 2 other occasions as a Republican. In this race, he decided to run as a Democrat. His comment to Doyle Webb was, "I'm not conservative enough to win a Republican primary." Enough said. So, thank y'all very much for your time. I asked to go first because I was supposed to go to a baseball game. I keep waiting on them to call me and tell me it's rained out. I haven't called yet, so I appreciate your time. I am going to go ahead and go.